Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of AWM Insights. I'm Justin Dyer, Chief Investment Officer here at AWM Capital, joined by Mena Hanna, Portfolio Manager. And we're here to talk about winning decisions, building your personal playbook for success. Obviously, this is an investing podcast. We're not going to stray too far away from that core topic, but almost taking a step back and talking about winning decisions, or really how to make good decisions, and applying this probably over the next couple episodes to making investment-related decisions. Now, big shocker here is you can probably take a lot of what we're going to talk about and think about it and apply it to all areas of your life, because making good decisions in the investment world is really no different than making good decisions in your day-to-day life. So we're going to jump right into it. We're going to start with the question, Mena, really of that we get pretty often, which is, what have your investment returns been? We get this from clients, prospects, just people who are curious about what we do. And really, it's not the most important question, or really the most important kind of decision you should be thinking of. And so let's jump right into it.
Yeah, and definitely returns matter. Returns have an impact. But if you're kind of to look at it with a sporting mindset, returns are scoring runs, scoring points. And that's a part of winning, but that's not the whole picture. You don't really necessarily need to score that. Like, you can score 3 points, 1 run, and win a game if your defense is great. What we want to do is we want to win games and ultimately win championships. So even though scoring runs is super, super important, you kind of have to look at the big picture and determine what it actually takes to win, and use that as your starting spot and as your foundation as you evaluate and start to think about making investment decisions and holistically making good decisions.
And I think it's really important, interject here, what is winning, right? Winning is not maximizing returns. I think this is exactly what you're saying, but winning the game, in our view, is accomplishing what's important to you, right? You clients, you hear the phrase, money is a tool to accomplish what's important to you. That is the game we are playing.
Yeah, winning is paying for your kids' full college tuitions, maybe making a down payment, paying for their weddings. Like, that is winning. And winning ultimately leads to a legacy. And these are real life goals that have true impact and that you will remember. I don't think, and you made this comment before, but no investor is going to remember that they beat the S&P by 1% to 2% in any given year, made XYZ positive investment decision. Like, that's a part of it that helps you actually achieve your goals and win, but that is not the whole picture. And we have to kind of reframe the way that we think about winning and the way we think about success, because everything that our clients see and that we see on social media, on the news platforms, really focus on the numerical side, and it's not customized and personalized for our clients.
Right. And it's part of it. It's an important or very critical part of it. Sorry, stumbling over my words there. But how do we think about getting to that end state, right? The end state of winning, and winning the proverbial championship, winning life, you could even say. And in our opinion, and this is not just unique to AWM, there's a whole field of study around this, decision analysis. It's around making good decisions along the way. We know that having a good process is way more important than just focusing on the end result. We will systematically have good results if we have a good process at the upfront, but we're not going to change our process just because we're not getting the results we want in one at bat, in one inning, in one whatever rep. You insert whatever you want to there. And so I think it's a really great framework, right? When we relate to our good old friend Brian Kane on the mental performance side of things, it's no different, right? Or you all professional athletes, your pre-at-bat routine, your pre-game routine, your post-game routine, your AM routine, your PM routine, all of it is the exact same. You're going to reflect and refocus periodically and make some adjustments, but repeatable habits and repeatable processes is how we get to win the game. It's how we apply a framework in making investment decisions, whether that's the boring old kind of plain vanilla fixed income, all the way to the incredibly interesting, sometimes hard to understand world of venture capital. All of that relies on good process to increase our odds of winning consistently, despite acknowledging there are going to be some strikeouts along the way, right? That is how we think about a good decision framework.
Yeah, and increasing your odds of success is exactly what we want to do. We don't care about getting lucky or, that potential of throwing the ball in double coverage and, gets caught and goes in for a touchdown. We want to make the right pass, make sure that we're making, the right read and the right call at every point. Sometimes that's not going to be the sexiest play that leads to the most yards, that leads to the most points being put on the board, but ultimately that is how you win. And yeah, it's just reframing and refocusing on that. So kind of some common pitfalls that we see and that are pushed by social media and by media in general is, yes, this focusing on the scoring points element, but a lot of that is actually rooted with behavioral biases, psychological traps, FOMO, overconfidence, the whole trust me bro culture that we're seeing right now, especially on Instagram and TikTok, chasing headlines. All of these behavioral biases will test your resolve in terms of making the right decision. And it is hard sometimes to make the right decision and not just do what you want to do. But it's important to understand what you're actually after, that you're after winning games and to run the playbook, as we've said many times before.
Yeah, right. It's swinging for the fences versus being disciplined at the plate. It's like, that is a lovely analogy. Or, just throwing a Hail Mary or going deep every single snap versus being disciplined, going through your progressions and finding the open receiver, right? Like, there's so many analogies here in sports, especially, which is wonderful given who we get to work with. But again, you can apply this to every single aspect of life pretty much. And I think that's a great reminder. As we kind of bring this to a conclusion, we're really talking about a pretty simple, straightforward framework, right? You got to clarify your goals ahead of time. What does the game plan call for? What is your playbook, to your point right now? And as you're making decisions based on those goals, based on that playbook, you do reflect and refocus, clarify the process. Do you need to make adjustments? What is the data telling you? We talk about data all the time. And then make sure you also know what your objective measure is for progress ahead of time, right? Like, is it just maximizing returns? Well, no, I would argue it's maximizing returns in light of what your goals are, right? Maybe that requires that you beat the S&P 500 over a long period of time. Great. All right. That is your measurement, your objective measurement. Maybe it's just that you need to keep up with inflation. Okay. If you can do that, that's all you need, right? You have to understand that ahead of time, and that this process is not going to lead to home runs every single at bat, but consistently you're going to win games. You're going to stack wins. You're going to stack days, make the days count, et cetera, until you get to that winning season, the championship, and the proverbial winning life. I shouldn't say proverbial, the reality of winning life, really, at the end of the day. So that's the framework. Hopefully real high level, but hopefully it's impactful, because we're going to take this and use this framework to apply it to really concrete questions, investing situations over the next couple of weeks, how we think about it, et cetera. So really, at the end of the day, it's good decisions come from good processes, not chasing fads, chasing returns, et cetera.
And part of it is being realistic with yourself and questioning, like, are we making the right decisions to get you closer to what matters the most? Like, taking even that step back and making sure that, the process that is in place and the decision-making process is intentional, makes sense, and will lead to good outcomes. That's where we start. And yeah, that's probably where we're going to start this series.
Totally. I mean, it's a kind of simple question. We're asking a lot of rhetorical questions here, but are my decisions getting me closer to what matters most? I really, really like that. Hopefully this was a helpful framework for you all. send us a text if you have any questions with respect to this or otherwise. We'll certainly make sure we talk about them. Mena, the text.
Yeah, 626-862-0355. Love the text messages so far. Keep it going. I will let you know if they get overwhelming, but yeah, good so far.
Cool. All right. And we'll wrap there. Until next time, own your wealth, make an impact, and always be a pro. Appreciate you tuning in.